Hello everyone, I'm Rogerio Pitzer. I'm the Director of Program Management for Mastercard in Ireland. It's important to understand that the key aspect to consider for financial services is the fact that there's a very low risk appetite. So it's a risk aversion industry, and also the regulatory compliance side. So those are two main things that needs to be taken into account, specifically discussing about this industry. Apart from that, I guess like any other establishing of a PMO, we would need, first of all, a strategic alignment. So you want to make sure that there is a clear mandate from the organization, there is executive sponsorship, and there's definitely stakeholder management. And that comes even from not only the PMO structure, but also the business functions that work alongside with the PMO as well. You go also through structure and governance. So it's important to understand what's going to be the organizational model of the PMO that goes into if the PMO will be directive, supportive, controlling. And a lot of times these definitions won't come by the establishment of the PMO moment. It would require some time for you to establish how it work best on that particular setup, because even within the company itself, you can have particular ways of working differently depending on which product line you were establishing the PMO from. So I'm not specifically talking about a whole PMO that encompasses the whole company, but sometimes divided by product lines, so they can operate in different ways. It's important to remember that one of the primarily jobs of the PMO as a mission is to not only develop a framework of how to interact, how the program will operate with the business functions, but as it turns out, more often than not, it also identifies areas that these business functions are not operating in the most healthy way. So a very clear example, for example, is that sometimes you have a particular part of the program, part of the organization operating in what we call modern times project management. I'm not sure if I'm referring to making an analogy to the Charles Chaplin movie and the production line, which everyone is responsible to put their own piece of work on the stairway and not necessarily concerned on what comes at the end, because I did my part. So this is an anomaly, and this is the kind of thing that the program management office is supposed to identify and help to fix, which is how are we actually bringing value to the organization. And this is a lot of work with product, this is a lot of work with engineering and all these business functions. So to ensure this effective collaboration, it's important to define these roles and responsibilities. So what exactly is the PMO role and how it will interact with these business functions? The other thing is obviously establishing these communication channels. Okay, how are we going to interact with these business functions, and to whom? They may have specific people at a program level, at a project level, at an initiative level. So you need to understand, and it goes through how you establish the framework for the PMO to operate. This is a very insightful question, an important one, because due to the nature, as we said, there is a lot of focus on regulatory compliance, and because of that, change management. Now, on the other side, a lot of these financial services companies, they operate in a global scenario. So we need to take into account, different cultures, different stakeholder, time zones. All of this will be embedded in the change management framework. It's important to build this culture of compliance, and a lot of that will come if you, at first, maybe you might want to establish a team within the program management office that will be focused on the regulatory changes. It can be even as a business function that work alongside, like with the legal and regulatory compliance team that already exists in the organization and will work alongside with the PMO with maybe one or two resources to be the focal point of this specific area. But it's important to be proactive. A lot of these changes, to be honest, they don't come out of the blue. They are discussed and they are introduced in the market as a talking point at first and discussed with authority as well before they are actually in place. So one of the objectives of this team could be to make sure that there is a proactive action within these changes. One particular aspect of financial institution is that the data that they hold, they are very sensitive. They are sensitive customer data. So the PMO needs to prioritize this data and the data security in every aspect and in every stage of the projects. So then again, you may want to have to maybe indicate some data stewards according to the different types of data that you work with, or split by product. So it's really alongside of how the company operates and how to better split that, but definitely have data stewards that would ensure that the data circulating in a particular piece of development is being protected, and that is the right focus in terms of quality, in terms of governance. You might want to start with some profiling and assessment of the kind of data that you have storing on this thing, but it depends on which stage of this journey, if I could call it like this, you are. Sometimes you already have this profiling and assessment being is already performed, and this data stewards already exists. So then again, it's a matter of introducing these people, these stewards, into the project management governance, and making sure that they are also involved in the definition of done and how things operate. If there is the proper training and awareness as well to the wider organization of the kinds of data that we deal with, and the importance of keeping them secure, and because they are customer data sensitive information, that may come with workshops, for example. And the other aspect I would say is that again, there are metrics and reporting and monitoring to track this data, especially designed to be more proactive than reactive to data breach situations, but that you implement that in a way that the team can support that, but also active proactively.